Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily spiritual podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator of the Bhakti Center in New York, Kaustubha Das. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. This is episode 1394.
Got a feeling we may be in trouble
Is that like
this morning.
Tommy or something? Welcome to the show.
That was Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
I didn't know these things. It wasn't from the Tommy soundtrack?
No, that was Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I think that might have been the name of the song. But
Welcome to the show. Okay.
like
Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good. I had a great evening last night.
Me too. I'm not to one-up you.
I don't think yours was as good as mine, though.
Me and Mara went for a 10-mile bike ride.
10 miles. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Pretty serious.
10 isn't a lot.
I was
Wow,
at the
but it was
Bhakti
good.
Center. You know, last night was the first night of Julian Yatra. I'm not sure if you're aware of that, Roman.
Yeah, I know, but I don't have a swing.
You got to make a little swing there. Come on.
Yeah, we should.
Make a little swing. Make it part
Did
of
you
your
swing?
thing.
If those who don't know Julian Yatra is, hold on to your seat. If you're new to this, hold on
This
to your
is
seat.
exciting
You know
stuff.
those dolls we worship on the altar as God? You know those? For this, how many days is it, Kaustubha?
It's different on different. It's usually 4 or 5 days.
4 or
6
5 days. We take those images, deities, dolls, whatever you want to call them, and we put them on a little swing, and we swing them. We swing them with a little rope.
Yep. But it's actually it's a meditation.
It's incredible.
It's more than a meditation. Yeah, but
Here's the deal: when you get it, it makes so much sense. If you don't get it and you're just looking in, it's bizarre.
Yeah.
But I think
sweet, bizarre. Maybe bizarre, but sweet,
yeah,
bizarre.
You know what? I get
Nice,
that.
bizarre.
I mean, I came in with a lot of like objections to everything. So for me, it was like, this is weird. This is not cool. I've never seen anything like this. This is foreign. You know, I was just objectional. And I think it really depends how you get into all this stuff. And part of me didn't want to hear God's call, didn't want to, and because it was so culturally
Resisting.
different, and there was no internet back then, I just kept objecting. The problem was everything started to make sense otherwise.
That was the problem.
That was a big problem.
It was just making too much
It
sense.
was making too much sense. Right? Then finally I got to the point, okay, you want me to swing God on a little swing? I'll do it. I'll do it with a smile on my face.
And now you love it.
I love it. I love it. Once you get it, then you're like, you're all into Krishna world.
You know, because I'm trying to wake up really early every morning and do my work on this book and everything, I've been avoiding going to like the Thursday night kirtans because, you know, if I get home at, you know, I don't know, 9:45 or something, I don't get to sleep until about 11:30 or, you know, and then I can't get up at 3.
To wind down.
A little wind down and, you know,
down at night.
yeah. But yesterday I was just downtown it was like 6:15 or something, and I realized, oh, it's Thursday. I'm just going to go over to Thursday night kirtan. And I didn't even realize that it was the first night of Julian Yatra.
Oh, wow.
But I just sat down there in that kirtan, and, you know, Keshav was leading. It's like the new generation. We used to talk about these devotees like, oh, they're going to be really great someday. That day is here. They're top notch. I mean, the kirtan that he led was just all I've been looking for in a kirtan. You know, it's just like, it was just sweet, and he just kept it right where he needed to keep it, and it just kept going, and we were all just, drowning and surfacing and in this river of just beautiful, blissful kirtan. Oh man!
You know what? For those who are getting into bhakti in the last 5 years or so, you're in such a good place to get into it. Everything's so much more mature. The roads have been paved.
Okay.
The blood, sweat, and tears of your predecessors. Enjoy yourself on a beautiful bhakti path.
Yeah. Oh man, it was love. And then we all, and then they brought little beautiful, sweet little Radha Murli Dhar on the swing, and Oh, it's just great. Whew. You just feel like it's so when kirtan is done in a way where, and I don't mean to be critical here of anyone, but when it's not about the person leading the kirtan, exactly right. But when they're singing to engage everyone together in remembering and hearing the names of Krishna, when that actually happens, it's really powerful.
Sure.
You know, it's like it's cathartic. It's beautiful. It's satisfying. It just really hits the spot.
That's nice. Did Maya sing?
Well, Maya did. I wasn't there the whole time. She didn't sing, but I was mentioning that her voice is on a high level now. So it's like that. Ananta is Keshava was leading, but his uncle Ananta is still kind of like playing mridanga and still kind of like running the show.
Yeah.
And so he'll just say, okay, get that microphone moving around, so like other people lead for a verse or something like that. And but I think the first person he said, her, like Maya, he pointed at her. And then they gave Maya the microphone, and Maya, woo, she just delivered. I mean, it was beautiful. And everyone responded. Everyone's like, yeah, it's like
You're
that.
born for this, Maya.
Yeah. Those devotees, I mean, kirtan's there for everyone, obviously. But if you do have that natural ability to sing very beautifully, just don't get distracted by anything else. Just use that and offer it to Krishna and to all the to devotees, and you can really have a smooth path, paved for you like that.
Want to hear something funny? Sammy from Youth of Today is always sending me these text messages. He's like, I've got some inspiration. You got to get that Ananta and Achyuta to play on a new Shelter record. We should make a new Shelter record.
Get
We
out.
should get Ananta and Achyuta on there to play.
Sammy's too much.
Whenever I find good musicians that are not devotees, I'll copy some of their kirtans. And there's like, here's something you might just like culturally. And I'll send it to them. And you can't help but appreciate and love good music.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll get him.
Especially if you're a good musician.
New Shelter record, put him on that record. Since Sammy climbed up on the Rath Yatra card, he's getting all kind of inspirations. I'm helping Lord Jagannath.
Okay. Hey, Miss Maya, what's going on? Miss Maya. Miss Mara. Mara, Maya. Remember we had Mara, Maya, and Mallory.
Yeah, it's true. It's confusing.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's going on? You had a good bike ride yesterday, Mara?
Yeah, it was
That
great.
was great.
Yeah, it was nice. Thank you.
It's nice.
All right. So we have Sage Group signups open up tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern time.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
And that's your chance. 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. If you want to get in a particular group, that's when you go, right then, because they're all wide open. And then they'll start to fill up. We'll talk more about the signups. I think on Wednesday we'll talk more about it. But this is a great chance to a little bit more. You don't advance spiritually. You can kind of hang out like in neutral, and usually neutral doesn't work for too long. You start to like backslide. But if you make it just a little commitment, okay, you know what? I'm going to show up once a week for that Sage group. That's where all the progress really starts, That's where you
happen. I've been to different cities and traveling around and with some devotees from our community. And in the middle of the conversation, they're like, I got to leave. I'm having a Sage group meeting. I was like, we're having dinner.
Yeah, it's true.
They're very committed to their Sage group.
That's great.
Yep.
Also, we have our Q&A day tomorrow. So instead of emailing us questions, you can also submit questions on our new platform. If you go to community chat and then questions for the hosts, we will pull questions from there and read them tomorrow.
Stacy's asking where to go for the Sage group sign up.
On our new platform, wisdomofthesages.com.
Yeah.
And there's a Sage groups tab.
Sage group tab there.
Yeah. And tomorrow there'll be a new sign up button.
9 a.m. It'll be wide open.
Yep. And then
I think we're gonna get you in a Sage group, Raghunath. That'd be a fun group.
I'll join yours.
No, maybe we do that every day.
Also on Sunday we have Kripa Moyadas, a Prabhupada disciple.
Oh yeah.
And beloved member of the dynamic Krishna Bhakti movement. And Kastuba, you'll be interviewing him about his new book, right?
That's right. He's got a new book out called Sanatan Dharma, published on Penguin Press.
That's so
Ooh.
impressive.
He's also the father of Genevieve Harrison, right?
Tulsi, yeah,
And Tulsi.
and their brother.
They got a little brother too.
Poor little brother. Nobody even knows his name.
I don't know. Can't remember. I knew
Forgetting
that
it right now. I know it, but it's slipping my
What
mind.
is it? He doesn't come here that much.
It's Genevieve's got such a powerful spiritual presence. I was in front of her husband, Kuladeep, and I was talking. There's like 3 or 4 of us together, and I said, "Yeah, oh yeah," and then that happened at Genevieve's wedding. He was like, I was there too."
It's hot. It's like being in a family with like if you're in a family with a celebrity. There's like a whole psychological condition for that. It's like,
It's kind of like, is it traumatic?
it probably is. Probably
Maybe that's what your family's been going through.
Like Bob Dylan's son. You know what I mean?
That's extreme, yeah.
It's extreme. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
When it's just sort of like, and then you got to feel like you got to live up to him. And Bob Dylan's son was in a band, and they got sort of big, but no, you're not getting as big.
It doesn't matter how big you get.
You're not going to be Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
And I bet that really does a number on you.
Well, they say Tarun is going to be more famous than you, right?
That's what my astrologer said.
And they say that Rocco is going to be like the big guru.
That's what my astrologer said.
Okay.
We're ready to hear that. Julian Lennon, that's another one Greg gave.
Another example. Many examples are out
puts
there.
out a record.
Athletes too, like LeBron James' son just got in the league, but it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, and then sometimes they do get bigger.
They what?
Then sometimes they do get bigger than their parents.
That happens sometimes.
Is that
It does happen.
Kirk Douglas? Who's he?
Michael Douglas?
Who's older?
Kirk.
Did Michael Douglas get bigger?
I don't know. Probably pretty equal.
They're sort of like families of like fame.
Okay, where are we going with this?
There's probably a brother that's like hating life. You know what I mean? It's not like it's going to make them a better person.
Sometimes there's like 3 people in the family that go huge, and then one that doesn't at all. What about that?
That is enough to put you in a psychiatric couch, perhaps.
That's like Venus and Serena, and then I think like there's another sister. And she just didn't play tennis. Something like that. Or I don't know if there's that family, but there's other families that are like that.
Yes.
But none of these things, these are external things right now. Let's bring this back to the spiritual focus here.
I understand. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah, unless you have that knowledge, it could torture you.
Unless you have that knowledge, the whole material world is torturous.
Yeah. Thank you. Hey, note that one down right there. Unless you have knowledge, the whole material world is torturous.
Yeah.
There you go.
All right.
Is that all the announcements, Mayor?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
Okay. We got a crazy nugget today, Ragana.
Love crazy.
I don't know if nugget is really the right word. It's like bigger than a nugget. You with me?
Yeah.
You sure?
Well, I did look to the right and see that someone wrote Paris Hilton, but I was like, did she have a famous sister?
Well, she comes from the Hilton family.
Yeah, that's enough to make you a little nuts.
Okay. All right. You with me, Ragnar?
Yeah.
So we've been talking, about in Bhagavatam, we've been reading about the instructions on householder life. Yeah. And it keeps going back. It's funny, right? But you've noticed it keeps going back to serving out prasadam, feeding people with this food that has been offered to God first, right?
Sanctified food.
I was thinking it's kind of like if you're in a grocery store, you can look around and say, oh, there's so much nice food in here, but you can't just pick it up and walk out of there with it without some sacrifice. Otherwise, you're a thief.
Ooh, I like
right?
where you're going with this analogy.
Okay, it just came to me.
You're a thief if you steal from the store.
You didn't create that food. You didn't grow that food. You didn't.
So you're going to have to give something.
You're going to have to give something. Otherwise, you're a thief.
Yeah.
And so the idea is, as we move through this world, we didn't create the food, right? There's got to be some sacrifice. It's God that's created. We're in God's house. Like we're talking about being in Taylor Swift's house the other day, right? This is God's house. It's his energy. He built it. It's, all his stuff. And it's kindly being offered to us like we're guests in it. But it would be uncouth not to show some appreciation. Otherwise, we're just like, imagine someone comes to your house and you feed them every day and they never even say thank you. They never even, it's like, dude, like, please,
Come on.
So the idea is that the food becomes sanctified. It becomes bhakti has this way of taking material energy and in one sense spiritualizing it by connecting it with the spiritual. And it's said that anything that your consciousness, that your awareness comes into contact with that has been spiritualized, it spiritualizes your consciousness, right? It lifts your consciousness up. It transforms your consciousness. And food is the most fundamental thing that we do, eating. It's like we do it every day. We need to do it it's not like this optional thing, right? It's this most fundamental human activity. So in the Bhakti tradition, the idea is that we take this, we recognize all of these beautiful, lovely, tasty, satisfying, nourishing ingredients that were given for food. We should prepare them with love for the person that gave them to us and offer them back, and then enjoy them to your heart's content. All right, don't worry about being attached or anything like that. We don't even worry about that. It's like, be attached to this, right? It's like it's purifying and satisfying. So that ritual of cooking with love, offering with love, then eating it with love. We don't even call it eating it, right? What do we call it?
Honoring
Honoring it.
Honoring prasad.
Yeah, because it's recognizing how special it is and how fortunate we are to receive it. That daily cooking and eating in that consciousness transforms you in powerful ways. So we're going to talk more about that in what we read today, but I pulled up a little some conversation between Mukunda Goswami, who we had on the show once. Remember that?
Who's one of the
Great soul.
original devotees, one of the original devotees of Prabhupada in New York City in the 60s.
Yeah.
And he was the one that really inspired him and Yamuna and Shamasundar and inspired the Beatles to get into chanting Hare Krishna.
Well, there you go. Because I have a conversation with him and George Harrison talking about, we call it prasadam. Prasadam literally means?
The mercy of the Lord.
Yeah, the mercy, the grace of God. So this food is called like the grace, right? The mercy. It's like but prasadam, that's what it's called. So this is Mukunda. He says, at lunch today, he's speaking to George Harrison. This was an interview from I think done in the early 80s. He said, at lunch today, we spoke a little about prasadam, vegetarian foods that have been spiritualized by being offered to Krishna in the temple. A lot of people have come to our Krishna consciousness through prasadam, especially through our Sunday feasts, right? The typical thing in a Hare Krishna temple is on Sunday, there's a big program and there's a big feast, right? Particularly through our Sunday feast at all of our temples around the world. I mean, this process is the only kind of yoga where you can actually practice by eating. George says, well, we should try to see God in everything. So it helps so much having the food to taste. Let's face it, if God is in everything, why shouldn't you taste him when you eat? I think that prasadam is a very important thing. Krishna is God, so he's absolute. His name, his form, prasadam, it's all him. They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So if you can get to a man's spirit soul by eating, and it works, why not do it? There's nothing better than having been chanting and dancing, or just sitting and talking philosophy, and then suddenly the devotees bring out the prasadam. Right,
There's nothing better than that.
I mean, that's just perfect.
When you're chanting and dancing, and all of a sudden a bunch of people show up with buckets.
There you go. He said it's a blessing from Krishna and it's spiritually important. The idea that prasadam's here we go. We were talking about this yesterday. The idea that prasadam's the spirit is the sacrament the Christians talk about. Only instead of being just a wafer, it's a whole feast.
Yesterday.
Yeah. He said it's a whole feast, really. And the taste is so nice. It's out of this world. It's undoubtedly done a great deal towards getting a lot more people involved in spiritual life. Prasadam breaks down prejudices. He's because he says, Prasadam breaks down prejudices too because, and the editing is this little screwed up. He says people think, I think he's saying people will think, oh, well, yes, I wouldn't mind a drink of whatever or a bite of that. Then they ask, what is this? And they respond, oh, it's prasadam. And then they get to learn another aspect of Krishna consciousness. Then they say, it actually tastes quite nice. Have you got another plateful? I've seen this happen with lots of people, especially older people I've seen in your temples. Maybe they were a little prejudiced, but the next thing you know, they're in love with prasadam, and eventually they walk out of the temple thinking, they're not so bad after all.
You know, it's interesting. We used to get prasad before we were devotees, you and I. We used to get prasad in Tompkins Square Park because that's where devotees would come and they distribute it, and we'd take it. We were just sort of
bring a Tupperware over there, maybe.
Fill me up with the Tupperware. I didn't do that.
I did that, man. I was living off
for the week. It's amazing how selfish the living entity is, right?
Well, we're being encouraged to do it.
I'm just taking. But then when I try to like match it by going to, well, I like this Indian food. I'm going to go to 6th Street and go to an Indian restaurant. And it just wasn't the same.
No.
Right? It just wasn't the same.
No, that food was powerful.
It was powerful food. And it seems as if the entire Vedic path is to broaden our entire consciousness to start appreciating. Everything here is created by God, from God. We are sort of made up of the mercy of God. And even when it comes down to the most fundamental thing, the thing that everybody's doing every day, multiple times a day, that's from God too. And every time you open your mouth to shove something in that pie hole, you remember this is all coming from God.
Yeah. That thankful aspect is there. And also, like he was saying, the kind of the spiritualization of it, like the Eucharist idea is there too, right? They're both, it's both. It's my appreciation for it, my honoring of it. And then also that even if I don't know anything about it and I eat it, it's transformation.
You know what, truthfully, I'm going to throw something to the Catholics. When I used to get up that Eucharist, it was something special. Go up, open your mouth, or putting something in your mouth. It did feel special.
It did feel special.
It wouldn't be the same thing if we were all sitting after chanting and dancing and they sat us down. They just
gave you a Eucharist
wafers. We would have been like, really? Come on. More than a wafer, please.
Well, we've been conditioned, Raghunath. Like Pavlovian recipients of prasad. Okay, Mukunda Goswami continues. He says, the Vedic literatures reveal that prasadam conveys spiritual realization, just as chanting does. Just by eating this food, you get spiritual realization. He said, you make spiritual advancement just by eating it. Then George Harrison replies, I'd say from my experience that it definitely works. I've always enjoyed prasadam much more when I've been at the temple or when I've actually been sitting with Prabhupada than when somebody's brought it to me. Sometimes you can sit there with prasadam and find that 3 or 4 hours have gone by and you didn't even know it. Prasadam really helped me a lot because you start to realize now I'm tasting Krishna. You're conscious suddenly of another aspect of God. Then Mukunda says, now this was back in the early 80s. He said, we've served about 150 million plates of prasadam so far at the free feast around the world, what to speak of our restaurants. And we're talking about how this prasadam distribution, the food is such an important part of not only this culture, but the practice of bhakti. And that's something, if you added up the billions of plates of prasadam that have been distributed following Prabhupada's order, I don't even know, like this was a decade ago, they're distributing, just in Mumbai in the midday meals program, it was over 300,000 plates per day. But then if you add up all of India, it was in the millions per day. So, I mean, it's billions and billions and billions of,
This is classic Hindu dharma. You know,
That's right. That's the dharma.
Me and Mara were just, remember that day we were walking around Govardhana Hill. We were at this place in the day. We're just sort of like didn't know what to do. We were a little hungry. Let's go into the village, get some food, and someone just hands us a plate of prasad, just a regular devotee temple, not a ISKCON temple, not a regular Hare Krishna temple, just an Indian temple. We're
It's
just
the
like,
dharma.
okay, this is lunch. This is lunch. They gave us some prasad. We're just going to sit down by Govardhan Hill and eat lunch. And it's that exchange, that receiving of the love, the giving of the love that makes your day magic. And if we can sit down today with that meditation, if we're preparing the food, think, I'm preparing this for Krishna, and I'm going to distribute it with the devotees. If that can be our consciousness as a preparer, how powerful will that be today?
It's an ideal way of sharing love, right?
It's an ideal way of sharing love. But instead of thinking I'm cooking it for my family, think I'm cooking this for Krishna. I'm cooking this for God. And even if you don't have an altar, make a mental altar and say, I'm offering this to you, God. And then I'm going to offer the remnants, the leftovers, to everybody else.
There you
We're
go.
all eating Krishna's prasad. Make that a if you do the cooking in your house, that Krishna, this is a sign right now. Krishna speaking through me.
Krishna speaking through me.
Krishna speaking through me to you right now. Make that your meditation today. Refine your cooking one notch by making it a direct offering to God, and then think about I'm going to distribute to the devotees. And it's magic stuff. And then you can have a little altar in your house. You can set up a little picture of Krishna. Krishna, this is for you.
Nice.
Then you get a little plate for Krishna. That's Krishna's plate. No one else eats on this plate. It's Krishna's plate.
Nice.
And devotees do this with their house. You can see Kostuba's got a little altar in the back there. And every day before he gobbles something down his pie hole.
Okay.
I love that.
Stuffing
it. He has a little plate of food that he offers to the deity.
Yeah.
And it was nice. Me and Tarun were playing chess yesterday, and all of a sudden Mara shows up at the altar, and she's offering something on the altar. And that doesn't that affect? I mean, that affected me to see you. She kneels down before the altar. She puts a little plate out, and it affects the consciousness.
Witnessing the devotion.
Witnessing her devotion and I felt like I'm about to eat something sacred now.
Yeah,
the whole thing is a very beautiful, in-depth appreciation of God and the devotees and the creation. And let's face it, wouldn't life be a little better off if we were all a little bit more appreciative and grateful?
There you go, Ragnar. Thank you for that. Your God speaking through you. God speaking through you. I'm thinking there's so many examples I can think of, but just a couple. Like, when you go to the Radha Govinda temple in Jaipur,
love it.
It's like this big, huge, open area, right?
Yeah.
And thousands of people, literally, all singing and just in their devotional fervor.
Circumambulating.
Yeah. And then you can go off to the side and you can purchase some prasadam, right? Sweets, especially, that have been offered to Radha and Krishna there on the altar. And what people do is they don't just go and buy for themselves. At that temple, what they do especially is they go and buy it. Then they just go stand out anywhere, and they just start handing it out, and crowds just come around them, and they're just like, here, some for you, some for you, some for you.
Food. It's the most beautiful thing to do.
It's a beautiful, loving exchange on both ends, giving it, receiving it. Everybody is connecting,
One of my favorite things is to go into Govardhan town, or one of the towns around Govardhan.
Find a lassi shop.
No, find a sweet shop. Buy a bunch of sweets, some boxes of sweets. Then I go up to Govardhan Hill, a nice, romantic, beautiful
I see where
place.
this is going. Yeah.
And I get some tulsi, and I put some tulsi on all the sweets, and then tulsi
leaves, the special holy leaves.
And then I'll offer them all these sweets to Govardhan Hill. And then I walk around with a box of sweets and start distributing to all the pilgrims going around Govardhan Hill. One of the more satisfying things you can do in your life.
I think we should do that on our on the retreat, on the pilgrimage that we're going to do.
Let's do it. Let's buy
everybody
sweets.
Do it.
Let's buy sweets. Mary, you got to stay with a stick to protect us from monkeys. Or we just give them to the monkeys too.
Monkey's going to have monkey seva.
Monkey seva. Banana seva.
Banana monkey seva.
Banana monkey seva.
I was thinking just one more example is, in Navadweep in Mayapur, West Bengal, in this holy place, our Mayapur is like in the center of it, and you can get on a boat and go up, about 45 minutes up the Ganga. You're still in Navadweep, and you come to that village, Mamgachi. Yeah.
ah,
And there, he's passed away now, but there was that beautiful devotee, Jagat Bandhu.
yeah.
He was, when I knew him back like 20 years ago, he was in his mid 80s. And when he was a little boy, like when he was 8 years old, his guru said, you should stay here and always serve in this temple. It's a temple that goes back 500 years in our tradition or something like that. And he just stayed there. He was a simple man that he never went to Calcutta and saw the city. He never watched television. He never did. He just lived in the jungle in this simple little temple, very
Total
holy
jungle.
place. And
Total jungle.
just worshipped in the temple and greeted anybody that came. And when you would walk in there, he was at that place in his elevated awareness that he loved everyone. You would walk in there and he would genuinely greet you with such love, even though you never met him before. And the first thing he would do is he'd bring you right in front of the altar, sit you down. He had like these, like in India, the rice comes in these burlap bags.
Yeah.
So his mats to sit on were just like these old rice bags, these old burlap rice bags.
He didn't offer you like a reclining chair.
That's what he had, but in his mind, he was offering you something really nice, like here, sit down here.
Burlap
sit down here, yeah. The man was dressed practically in rags. He had like, just nothing serious for clothes, and then he would sit you down, say you sing for Radha and Krishna, and then he would hustle, and he would like start to grab vegetables, and he'd run into this. Like he had this like kitchen was just a pit in the ground with some like old dented pots, and he would start to cook for you. And then he would sit you down. He spoke no English, so he spoke no English, but the love that he had for every living being was very powerful, and his natural way to express it. Let me cook for you. I'm going to cook for Krishna and offer you the prasadam. And you would feel it so profoundly,
I think it's people have to experience that, meeting sadhus or devotees who have that desire to love and serve, and it changes something in you. You're like, oh, I get it.
So
this
important.
is what it's about, and you feel so loved. People need to experience that. That's why pilgrimage is great, because you run into people like this.
Yes,
and it does something to your heart. It sort of recalibrates your heart.
Yeah.
Then we have to take it seriously. Once we get that taste for it, we have to be that person that when people come to our home, we are making them feel so welcome, so loved. And that's a huge part of advancing in bhakti, is when people come to you, you make them feel like this is your home. How can I serve you? Whenever I come to your house, you're always making me feel that, for sure. It's true,
and except for starving, I always do great at your place. No,
I gotta work on it a little bit.
I always feel
like,
so happy to be at Super Soul.
Is there a breakfast going on today?
Where's the food?
No, we're a lot better now.
No, you definitely are. Mara helped. Mara got the kitchen whole thing together. Like she's pulled everything together.
She's got that Vaishnava spirit.
Yes, she does. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Just thinking about food now.
Narayanam namaskrityanam chaivanarottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tatujayam madhuriyat. Before we start in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshu vadreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati utamasloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated, and loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Gyana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurun Midatam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my teachers are opening my eyes with a torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 15.
Yeah.
Text 7.
Canto 7, chapter 15,
Text 7.
entitled Instructions for Civilized Human Beings.
Civilized man.
Does that include us?
If we're acting civilized, you could be uncivilized in a moment. I've been there.
Oh, have you?
Oh, yeah. Uncivilized means senses are out of control. It doesn't mean like you're dressed. You can think you're, well, I'm dressed up very nicely. No, that's got no.
No.
It's not just what's happening externally. It's what's happening internally. That's what real civilization is. What's your mind like? A lot of times we're very clean on the outside, but inside there's all types
dirty,
of defilement.
Okay.
Mental defilement, as the Buddhists say.
It's true. It's true.
Text 7.
Maybe we could just revisit the other ones real quick just to set the, because this is what it said. Right? Text 5 said, when one gets the opportunity of a suitable, auspicious time and place, one should, with love, offer food prepared with ghee to the deity of the Supreme Lord, and then offer the prasadam to a suitable person, a Vaishnava or Brahmana. This will be the cause of everlasting prosperity, spiritual prosperity, right?
Everlasting love.
And then text 6 said, one should offer prasad to the demigods, the saintly persons, one's forefathers, the people in general, one's family members, one's relatives, and one's friends, seeing them all as devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is just by giving, by serving in such a nice way, by loving everyone, you're seeing everyone in connection to God. It's cultivating that, right?
Still picturing you with your Tupperware.
Well, you see, my deal was this. When I first started getting into it seriously, there were 3 programs a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at Greenwich Avenue.
Yeah.
And then there was Sunday in Brooklyn. So that's 4 days.
I wish I could blink myself back then right now to look at you. And be like, hey, we're going to be friends one day.
and then there was prasadam that certain days they would give it out in the park. So you almost had like a full week there. But, you'd go with that Tupperware, then you would bring that home. You could just survive just off of that.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
And we did, yeah.
All right, continue. Sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead. I interrupted you.
No, you didn't. I just said it.
No, I interrupted you.
All right, text 7. A person fully aware of dharma, religious principles, should never offer any things like meat, eggs, fish in the Shraddha ceremony, even if one is a Kshatriya. Right? Sometimes there's this contention that Kshatriyas ate meat.
There was dharmically it would be allowed for them to hunt and then eat the meat. No slaughterhouses, that's for sure, right?
But not everybody. I don't think that was every Kshatriya. I think
that's what it's saying here. Even Kshatriyas shouldn't do this if they want to be bhakti yogis.
He himself should not eat such things. When suitable food prepared with ghee is offered to saintly persons, the function is pleasing to the forefathers and the Supreme Lord, who are never pleased when animals are killed in the name of sacrifice. Ooh-yah.
So Narada here is clarifying things that may have been misconstrued from previous texts, like in the Vedas, and he's saying if you want to take this to the higher level, there's sacrifice, but not this animal sacrifice.
By the way, we're gonna, speaking of that which is in the Bible, you hear of animal sacrifice.
Yeah,
we're gonna we're doing an interview with the guys who did the Christspiracy movie.
Have you nailed down the date for that yet?
We're still working on a date, but it's happening.
Nice. So now, so it's saying here, you offer this nice food. There should be no meat, fish, or eggs. The Shraddha ceremony is a ceremony that's done for the benefit of your forefathers who've already passed away. And the idea is that how this food is so powerful that if you prepare the food with devotion, offer it to God, it becomes spiritualized, and then through ritual you offer it to your forefathers. So no matter what state they're in, if they've taken birth here or there, or whatever, they're still getting that. And everybody is meant to take care of their forefathers that way. Now, someone may say, oh, what a ridiculous, superstitious world they live in. But think about the mentality, even if none of it's true.
You know what? I'm with you here. The consciousness you have to have, like, I'm doing this to benefit my ancestors. How broad your mind becomes.
Yeah. and
How
and then the
grateful your
effect it
mind
has on you,
is.
like that
Yeah.
that you're thinking about your own, what's my destination due to the level of my consciousness? Where am I going? You know.
Mm.
Now the next verse, Raghunath, this is this is anyway. Let's just read it. It's so important.
Persons who want to advance in superior dharma, right? There's
Yeah.
there's different, how do you say it? Different levels of your spiritual life.
Yeah. Here it says parodharma.
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 Superior
Which, by the
religion.
way, reflects the very beginning of the Bhagavatam when Sutta Goswami was asked by the sages of Naimisharanya, what brings the highest good to mankind? What delivers complete satisfaction to the self?
Sure.
He said, Savai Pungso, for all humanity, parodharma, the highest dharma, is bhakti.
Right. So this isn't sectarian stuff. You could say that, well, I'm not just going to cook for myself. I'm going to cook for my entire family. So the beginning of the beginning of spiritual life is a selflessness where you're starting to care about other people besides yourself.
Yeah.
And so, and then when you start to realize, like, I don't know if there's a God, but I believe there's some higher order of the universe. And eventually you're starting to engage in a practice where you're refining your spiritual life. You know what? I got to learn to forgive people. At first I was I got to be careful what I put in my body. I got to be careful what I put in my ears and eyes and nose and mouth. I got to be careful because these animal beings too. So what we're doing is the Vedas take you to various nuanced levels of evolving your dharma or your spiritual connection. And
Yeah.
so there is a supreme one. There is a highest one. And we're not saying like we're out there and all those guys are down there. We're still working on it too. Okay. So it's not meant to be a sectarian statement.
It's anything but.
It's anything but. It's
Yeah,
very
because you'll find that parodharma across the different spiritual traditions. Right? It's not saying this religion, but it's saying this realization.
Sure. And we should realize we are works in progress. Even if you opted in, okay, bhakti. If you're opting in to your bhakti path, expect that Krishna is going to start putting obstacles in your life for your evolution.
Okay.
Because he cares. Because he wants you to. He doesn't want you to sit. It's nice to take a bath. It's a good thing to take a bath, right? It's soothing to take a bath. It's clean to take a bath if you're dirty. You don't want to sit in that same bath water for a week.
You got to throw out the bath water.
You got to get rid of the bath water. You got to get some new bath, right? You always have to upgrade the computer, the newer operating system. So you're going to find, even on your bhakti path, on a regular basis, you're asked, time to upgrade. And it's going to be tapping you on the shoulder on a regular basis. And you're going to go, it is time. Finally, you have to accept, yes, it is time. You're going to click that button. It's time to upgrade the operating system and stop hitting never see this message again or remind me later. Stop hitting that button.
Remind me later.
Remind me later. Never see this
How
message.
many months do you do that with the message keeps coming up every day? All right, start the verse again.
Persons who want to advance in supreme dharma, parodharma, are advised to give up all envy.
Let's say again, animosity, right?
That's a big one. Envy of other living entities, whether in relationship to the body, words, or mind. Ooh, there is no dharma or religion superior to this. That's pretty powerful.
It's all right there, right? Yeah.
Giving up envy. That means I'm happy for other people's happiness. I'm sad for other people's success. We're not trying to create agitation between other people. I'm not trying to take people down on a regular basis. My mouth is not filled with criticism or fault finding for other people. I wish people well. I wish people spiritual connection. I don't harbor resentment in my heart for other people.
Take no joy in someone else's suffering or humiliation.
Yeah.
I was thinking there's this, anyway, maybe just by saying it, I'm participating in it. I don't know. But, in the Olympics, there's this woman that did this breakdancing for Australia,
Oh, let's not go there.
No, but I'm just saying, the poor lady's getting so much views, And then I saw an interview with her, and she was just like saying, I really worked hard. I tried my best, and I felt bad. I felt so bad for her, that she really did her best, and maybe she wasn't so great at it, but she went out there.
Then how did she get in the Olympics for it? That's my question.
It's a new
There's a
sport.
lot of
It's
good
like,
break dancers out
there's
there.
a-
I've seen good break dancers.
I was thinking when it comes to breakdance, just put those gymnasts in it, and they're gonna destroy anyone,
Yeah, although break dance is a little different. But
Oh yeah, but it's a lot of that stuff the gymnasts could just crush. But in any case, back to this.
gymnasts they should be just an Olympics for gymnasts. Just
Well,
gymnasts.
they kind of dominate the Summer Olympics.
Yeah.
But in any case, this word envy again, the more archaic meaning, and I think especially the meaning that Prabhupada conveys when he translates it, is animosity. Right? Envy means an animosity. Persons who want to advance in the superior dharma, they're advised to give up all animosity of other living entities. And then to clarify how we have to do that, it's not just like, oh, okay, I won't say anything bad to other people, or I won't physically do anything bad. There's a thoroughness for the yogi. And they use this model where they consider manaha, these are the words mentioned in manaha, the mind, vak, the words, and kaya jasa, the body. Body, mind, and words. That's a ascension, you could say, or refining.
I'm not going to punch them. I'm not going to think ill thoughts, and I'm not going to speak ill
That's
about
the first stage, right? That's the first stage. Is I'm not going to physically assault the person that I am feeling animosity towards. So I need to root animosity out of my actions. That's great. If you do that, you're on a great start, but you got to go deeper. Even what you say, you have to root animosity out of everything that you have to say. That means you're not saying terrible things about the woman from Australia who was in the breakdance contest. You're not. That's not where you go to try to. You got nothing like that to say. Nothing. So gentle with those words, right? So considerate with your words. And then, but still more, and the most subtle and the most difficult of all, you need to root it right out of your own. That's really where it all goes. It's the mind is really what we're most concerned with. So you root it out of your actions with your body. You root it out of your words. You root all animosity out of your mind. And Narada is saying here that there's no dharma superior to this dharma. Right now, you're completely capable of seeing everything in relation to God.
Yeah. Or Morrissey. We hate
Morrissey.
it when our friends get. Why can't I think of the
What happened to Morrissey?
We
People
hate it when our friends get successful.
Oh, he has a song like that?
Yeah. It's like people that people that maybe you had an edge over them, and all of a sudden they become huge, and it's just like it kills you. It should have been me. And people just go through their life like that should have been me, especially if you were very attached to the outcome.
You know what I think, Raghunath, is a great exercise for us all. A place of focus, right? Is where this gets put to the test a lot, is what we allow ourselves to participate in. Nowadays, it's especially online, but it can also be in our conversations with people.
Yeah.
But when when there's some hostility, when people are speaking with hostility to other living beings, do we join in that spirit of hostility? Do we join in it for fun? Do we join in it just to get our blood boiling? Do we join in it just for entertainment? Or do we refuse to participate? Even if we can't stop the person from doing it, do we internally say, this is not for me? This is not what I'm going to.
That's a good practice. Next time you hear that, like people collectively digging in or online, first of all, get the hell offline. Stop commenting on Facebook things. You're not convincing anybody of anything on Facebook. Stop that. Stop wasting your time and everyone else's time. Don't even go there. But yeah, can we say, even when people are collective, can we just say, you know what? This isn't for me. Internally say, this isn't for me. I'm not going to even support it. I'm not going to get, and you know what? People actually respect you. They'll see like, oh, we're digging into this guy. And yet, Kostuba won't do it. Kostuba won't jump in with me. and it's what it's doing is teaching them the behavior of controlling your words, controlling your mouth, controlling what comes out of your mouth.
It seems like I'm missing out in the beginning. Maybe it feels like, oh no, I'm going to miss out.
Yeah,
You're not
because you
missing
got
out on
something you can
anything.
throw in. It's sort of like a gang fight, like
Yeah.
5-on-1, where
Yeah, I
everybody's
can throw a
throwing
kick
in
in
a kick or
there.
a punch.
Yeah,
Don't
right.
don't go there. Don't throw in a kick or a punch.
It'll pay off so much in the long run, though. Your character, right? In the development of your own character. Do we want to be these mediocre, just follow the crowd, into this mediocre at best kind of character development, or do we want to make the best of this life and make the best of ourselves? You got to work right there.
I really can sum up, if a person comes to me criticizing somebody else, it's like you could sort of, it says so much more about the person than it says about the person they're criticizing.
Well, I'll tell you, but you know who it also talks about?
What?
Yourself. Right? This was Bhakti Tirtha Swami's. He took it to that level, right? Where he said, if someone comes up to me and starts talking bad about other people around me,
What makes them think I want to hear? Like, what is it about me?
What is it about me? Yeah,
Right.
that makes them think I'm willing to participate in that stuff. I better deal with myself. Now we're talking Vaishnava, right? That's like high level thinking right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, am I attracting this? Are people like coming to me to speak ill? Like
They should think, oh, he's never going to participate in that kind of talk.
Yeah.
Right. When they just like people like like in our own life, no one would come up to Radhanath Swami and start spewing some of the kind of stuff that we might spew amongst ourselves. Right. Oh, he's not interested in that.
Yeah.
Right. I'll feel like a fool if I begin to talk like that in front of him. People should feel that way with us, right? We should always think about
Maharaj has trained us how to speak, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He really trained us how to speak.
How to speak, how to think.
Psychic surgery.
Yeah. All right, Raghu, we're out of time.
Oh, I want to talk more.
Well, you generally find a way after the music starts.
Where's everybody? How come I can only see Kastuba?
You can open it up.
All the faces on the screen, please.
Do you want to hear the takeaways?
I want to see all the faces first, so I can look around while you're saying this.
I know. Then you
So
don't-
you see, Mara knows the deal. He's going to get all distracted.
No, I like to see people.
But you got to stay focused just a little bit more, Raghunath. Just a little bit more. Look at him waving.
All right.
She's like limits who I can see.
It's important, Raghunath. We need to narrow down your focus, okay? We need to
Just here today.
For your own benefit.
for your own benefit. It's out of love that she does this, Raghunath.
Sounds like you're like a parent talking, doesn't it? Like for you.
Yes,
'cause I
there
love
is a bit of a parent-child kind of dynamic here.
you. Hare Krishna. Go on.
Takeaways. Unless you have knowledge, the whole material world is tortuous.
Torturous.
Raghunath.
Raghunath.
We're in God's house. We have to reciprocate or appreciate the offering.
You're in God's house now.
Prasad is powerful and breaks down prejudices.
That's right.
Breaks down prejudice.
Eat
More
for
prasad.
Eat for
More.
spiritual advancement and love of God.
I think we need to get a Wisdom of the Sages prasadam distribution program going.
That would be great. Internationally.
Bhakti Center's getting into this. Maybe we can kind of like get into
So
it with
many
them.
people would, if you're into that type of thing, so many people would support it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. You can get like the government to support it. That's how amazing it is.
Yeah. And right now, the mayor of New York is like all about veganism and everything like that. So it's like there's opportunity right now.
Veggie burger distribution.
Yeah. Here's a veggie burger.
Here's a plant-based sausage made with love. Thank you. Who's that guy giving out sausage? Vegan sausages on the corner. Okay.
Life is better off when we're grateful and appreciative.
Sure is.
It's better. Just better. That's easy.
Dharma is anything but sectarian.
Anything but sectarian.
I'll wear that shirt.
Universal.
Thoroughly give up animosity in body, words, and mind.
Spit it out
Thoroughly give up.
and then walk away from it. You turn, you spit.
If I've got
and then you walk away from
animosity, how can I have a joyous life? And I think I'm like getting something out of this, having hate for other people. Come on. ruining my life.
And
Yeah.
throw out the bathwater and upgrade the operating system.
And don't throw out the baby with the bathwater.
No. People have done that in the past. It's horrible.
Hare Krishna. Right?
Thanks, everybody, joining us. I thought we had other takeaways than that.
You weren't satisfied with the takeaways? Maybe because you were distracted looking at everybody on the
Did
screen.
you hear?
A lot of wisdom today. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. If you haven't commented on Amazon for Punk to Monk, we're going to go to Amazon right now.
Oh, it's a Punk to
Monk,
Monk.
write a review. If you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, go to YouTube, just say subscription, hit the bell icon, and write some comments. Makes all the difference. Share the videos with people that you like, people you think that would be interested. And also, we're going down. We're going up. You're coming up to Super Soul Farm for our Wisdom of Sages retreat happening on Columbus Day. Registration is open and it's filling up. Also, the chant camp we're doing with Dunya in Bali. Coming up for that. That's happening Labor Day weekend. We're missing everybody. I'm seeing all these beautiful faces, missing everybody in my life. Wednesday, we're all heading out to Arlington, Massachusetts. If you're anywhere in the tri-state area or Maine or Vermont, you want to come down Arlington, Massachusetts, we're all going to see Tom Essig's movie, Something Divine. Super excited for that. Make a road trip. What's up? We're going to India. That's we're wrapping up registrations. If you're thinking about India, get your butt off the fence and jump in. Jump into the joy. Mara. Time to break a codicy.
You broke it with some oat milk in your
Oh, I broke it with oat milk. Right. I didn't realize that. Thank you, Mara.
welcome.
Sneaking in my break fast.